Good evening. Welcome to tonight's neighborhood meeting. My name is Logan Jeffermans, and I'm a planner with the city's Development Services Department. The focus of tonight's meeting will be on a currently proposed application for a zoning bylaw amendment and a draft plan of subdivision at 908, 920, 926 Yonge Street, south of the intersection with Mapleview Drive East. Please be aware we are recording this meeting for the public record. The recording will be used for the purposes of garnering your input and to respond to inquiries, and will be considered public information. Please be aware that as a registered attendee tonight, your mailing or email address will be added to the mailing list so that you can receive further information about this application as it progresses. Should you have questions regarding this collection, please contact the Development Services Department, myself. I would also like to let everyone know that there are staff behind the scenes managing the technology tonight. They're here to make sure that the meeting runs smoothly, to grant participants the opportunity to speak, and to assist with any questions in the chat. Please bear with us if we have any issues. The intent of tonight's meeting is to provide members of the public with an opportunity to become familiar with this development application and the planning review process before us, and also to ask the applicant questions and to provide some feedback. So what can we expect during tonight's virtual neighborhood meeting? A brief overview of the city's review process and timing, a presentation from the applicant's representative describing the proposal, and an opportunity to ask questions of either the applicant or city staff and provide comments or identify any concerns with the application. What can't you expect really out of tonight's meeting would be a city staff recommendation on the application or a detailed analysis of this proposal. This would occur later in the review process. Additionally, I don't expect a debate on the merits of the proposal between city staff and the applicant tonight. Before we get into the presentation, I just wanted to quickly highlight the next steps in the application process. This neighborhood meeting is established early in the development process, very early, to ensure local concerns are incorporated or addressed through the city's review. After this meeting, we expect that the applicant will make a formal application submission for this development project. Formal submissions undergo a full technical review and must address comments received from this neighborhood meeting, from the city's technical departments, and additionally external agencies, as well as from members of the public more broadly, including yourselves. In conjunction with this, a statutory public meeting will be held virtually on the application at a planning committee meeting, affordability committee as it's now referred to. At that public meeting, applicants present their application to council, answer questions, and provide an overview of and response to any issues or concerns identified during this neighborhood meeting. As part of a public meeting, members of the public also have an opportunity to provide verbal or written comments. Following the public meeting, staff continue the technical review process and the applicants make sure any necessary revisions to the development proposal are made. Once the review process has concluded, a staff recommendation report is brought forward to council for their consideration. All comments received throughout the review process, including those received at the neighborhood and public meetings, are identified and addressed in the staff report and form part of staff's recommendations on the subject application. A staff report for this particular application would likely be brought forward to council sometime in the middle of 2024, depending upon the applicant. I will now move on to the applicant's presentation. As mentioned, the proposed project and application will be presented first, which we will then follow with a question and comment period from you, members of the public. So tonight, we are focusing on the zoning bylaw amendment and draft plan of subdivision applications proposed at 908, 920, 926 Yonge Street. The applicant's planner is Vanessa Simpson from Innovative Planning Solutions, and the proposal requires a zoning bylaw amendment to the neighborhood mixed-use zone with special provisions and a draft plan of subdivision to create the respective blocks for 2 12-story condominium buildings and 8 3-story townhome blocks, including 132 units. I will now hand the meeting control over to Vanessa, who will introduce herself and share a presentation on the proposed development.
There, sorry. You see it, Logan? Looks different on my end than when we tested. There we go. Sorry, everybody. we go through like a test meeting and, everything runs finely. And then we come here before all of you and it doesn't want to cooperate. Apologies. So like Logan said, thank you, Logan, for the introduction. I'm Vanessa Simpson here with Innovative Planning Solutions, the planner on file to present these applications before you today. So good evening, counselor, staff, and members of the public. Tonight I'll be presenting 908, 920, and 926 Yonge Street in Barrie. The applications proposed are for a zoning bylaw amendment, as well as a draft plan of subdivision application. The intent for the meeting tonight is to receive feedback from the neighborhood and provide clarification on the proposed development. As noted, these are the sites, 908, 920, and 926. There are currently 3 individual properties, which will be consolidated for this proposed development. The subject lands are located approximately 330 meters south of Mapleview Drive. The total land area is approximately 2.87 hectares, while the developable area is about 2.4 hectares. The combined frontage along Yonge Street is approximately 148 meters. The lands currently contain 3 single detached dwellings, 1 on each property, as well as some associated accessory structures. The lands are located within an area that is currently seeing a lot of development as well as some redevelopment. Yonge Street is identified as an intensification corridor, and the subject lands shown here are shown in red. And this map illustrates an overview of the surrounding neighborhood, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. But they do include a variety of existing residential uses, including low-density single detached dwellings. There are some townhouse dwellings in the area, as well as some more dense developments, including up to 6-story condominium buildings, which have been recently constructed. In addition, a number of surrounding properties have been approved for low to mid-rise residential developments and mixed-use developments proposing both commercial and residential uses with condo buildings up to 12 stories in height. Other existing uses in the area include some institutional uses like a church, a variety of commercial and retail uses, obviously the GO stations here, as well as some parkland trails and environmentally protected lands. As per the official plan, the lands are located within a major transit station area of Yonge Street and Mapleview Drive. So you can see that in this first image. In addition, they are designated medium density, which permits developments between 6 to 12 stories in height, with a density target of 125 to 300 units per hectare. The official plan does permit lower building heights if the minimum density target can be met. The official plan permits and encourages a full range of housing options, with emphasis placed on more attainable options, and supports more compact urban forms of development through intensification. The proposed development aligns with the policies and objectives of the official plan. The lands are currently zoned private services within the town of Innisfil's zoning bylaw. A zoning bylaw amendment is required to bring these lands, one, into conformity with the city of Barrie's zoning bylaw. As well, the amendment would rezone the lands to the neighborhood mixed use zone with site-specific special provisions as required for the site plan proposed. The mixed-use zone, the neighborhood mixed-use zone, NMU zone, permits a wide range of residential uses, including apartment buildings, condominium buildings, and back-to-back townhouses. The proposed development is shown here. As you can see, so we've changed orientation a little bit. So Yonge Street's here at the bottom of the slide. As you can see, Street A, which would be along the north property line, is a new road that's proposed within the subject lands, which will provide access to both the proposed development as well as continue through to the future development to the west. Additional vehicular access is proposed from Street BB, which is within the development to the west as well, the future development to the west. Two 12-story buildings, residential condominium buildings, with a shared 7-story lobby are proposed fronting Yonge Street. Direct access from Yonge Street to the lobby will be provided. Additional access would obviously be provided within the internal workings of the site. There are 8 3-story back-to-back townhouse blocks proposed. These are shown in both yellow and purple. The yellow ones have private driveways and garages, whereas the 2 blocks shown in purple would have a shared parking garage structure. A total of 486 residential units are proposed, providing a density of 203 units per hectare. Common amenity area is also proposed. There's some shown outdoor, as well as common indoor amenity area within the condo buildings. A landscape buffer providing a minimum of 3 meters would surround the perimeter of the property and all buildings, which will provide the opportunity for landscape enhancement between the development, built form, and the street. Now I'm going to take a little bit closer look at the 12-story buildings proposed. So there are 2 towers. So there's that tower, we want to call it Tower Building A, which is the more northern tower, and Building B. Within Building A, which also includes the piece that wraps to make an L shape, 147 units are proposed, and within Building B, 207 units are proposed. Direct access to the residential condominium buildings lobby from Yonge Street would be proposed. There are 3 levels of underground parking provided, which will provide approximately 372 parking spaces for the residential units. Additional visitor parking will be provided at grade. Each unit has private balconies, as you can see in the illustration. Taking a little bit closer look at the back-to-back units that are proposed, 6 3-story back-to-back townhouse blocks are proposed with private driveway and private garage. As I said, these yellow blocks are those ones. And in total, there's 96 units. The 2 purple blocks would have a common underground parking garage. And in total, there's 36 units proposed. This is an illustration of what they'd look like, potentially look like. They're still being developed, obviously. So through the submission, as we move forward and continue to work on the applications, a wide list of studies and reports are required. So this is the extensive list that will be provided once we make a formal submission. I will note that these documents will be available on the city's website. You can reach out to Logan to get direction on where those would be when the time comes. If you'd love to read any of those, they'll be there for you. And just a brief policy review. I'm not going to get too far into it, but the proposed development and associated applications will be further justified through the planning justification report with our formal submission package. Direct growth to the settlement area, which is Barrie, where is projected, where population and residential growth is projected to be accommodated through ambitious levels of development. To support complete communities and sustainable communities, a shift is directed to create more of an urban city with higher densities, more compact built form, vibrant public realm, and a mix of land uses. Within the major transit station area, intensification is supported. Developments are to provide a variety of housing options, including affordable housing options. The collective goal is to create new housing options and a more diverse range for the residents of Barrie. So in conclusion, the development proposes two 12-story residential condominium buildings with a shared 7-story lobby and 8 3-story back-to-back townhouse blocks for a total of 486 dwelling units, providing an overall density of 203 units per hectare. As mentioned, the zoning bylaw amendment is required to bring the site into conformity with the city's zoning bylaw, as well as support any site-specific amendments that may be required. A draft plan of subdivision is required to subdivide the lands into individual blocks, which will facilitate the proposed development. Residential development is supported as it effectively utilizes land, infrastructure, and services and contributes to a more desirable compact built form. In support of improved housing attainability, the proposal would contribute to diversified housing options within the city while assisting the city in achieving its directed housing and density targets. The development would support the city's direction for growth at the Yonge Street and Mapleview Drive major transit station area. Collectively, the development aligns with all levels of policy, seeking evolution into more complete communities. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions or provide clarification on today's presentation.